right, good morning. Well, here we are again. Time for some game dev. And while I was waiting for the stream to get started, I was spending a little time looking at the sound effects enum and doing a little bit of reorganization. Not changing anything, although I think there's some things that we can add. Some things that I was going back into the original issue that listed all the stuff I wanted to do, and thinking about the other effects we might want to add to the enum, right? So there's definitely some stuff here that we haven't captured yet, and so we're going to do that. I think what I'll do is we're going to create a branch here. This is going to be add remaining SFX IDs is what we'll call this branch. So it'll be, just trying to narrow the scope of this. This is where I've decided I'm going to start here, because we can enumerate some things, right? And then I have some bug fixes that Copilot put together for me that we can review. And some little features too. Some things I think I was referring to on Sunday. So that, and then so we review those and see if we can merge them, test them, that sort of thing. And then maybe come back to making some more sound effects, right? So continuing the work from Sunday of making sound effects for the game. So really all I've done so far is I've added some comments and tried to come up with categories here. And really they are effectively the same categories as our sound category here, although I have split up user action sound effects versus other combat related sound effects, because otherwise scrap pickup doesn't really have a place. I think in the resource file for scrap pickup, let's see, config sound effects. Did I make one for scrap pickup? Maybe I didn't. Okay, well, if I had have created such a resource file, maybe it would have had the UI sound category, right? Do I, in that case, want to add a new sound category here of player action to mirror what I've done here? And does that matter? I don't know that it matters, because I don't know exactly what I'm going to use that sound category for. But I'm leery of, hey, I've documented this structure, but then this doesn't match, right? So right? So I'm going to do that anyway. Okay, so in our configurations for sound effects, we have player attack hit. And so we're changing this to be player action. And that's different from our UI category, which is about stuff that's happening in the user interface. Player action is about stuff that the human player is doing within the game that's not in any of the other buckets. Add to sound category enum. There we go. Now, one of the things that I think maybe we could do No, I guess it's fine. I guess we're doing this everywhere, right? So the class name is resource sound effect, and the file name is sound effect resource. We're doing that here with obstacle type resource. It's resource obstacle type. Do we feel like how many things are underscore resource? A few. Okay, I'm not gonna mess with that for now then. All right. So what are the other sound effects that we want to add? Let's do maybe side by side here. Going back to our issue in GitHub. Okay, so player actions, scrap collection. I'm not going to check these off because I want to, I guess it's fine as long as they're in, no. Ooh, I had an idea for something we could do with the soundboard, which is right now the way the soundboard works. Do I want to do that? Maybe not. Maybe not. I was thinking that, so the way our soundboard works, which reminder, soundboard is this guy, which we can run, and I can press a button. That's the default sound. UI cancel is just the default sound right now. There's our error sound. Right. So, but this doesn't list all of the different sounds that are in that enum. Do we want to make it obvious, like, oh, we have work to do? I don't think it's worth the effort. I mean, I'm glad the soundboard exists, but I don't think I need to add anything more to it. I'm gonna focus on adding sound effects to the enum, and then yeah, we won't check off this until we actually make the sound effects, but we'll just go through the list here, right? So player actions. Hey, this is also a category that was created in the past, player actions. Excuse me. Although obstacle placement, construction sounds, that's actually, I made the separate category of building related sounds down here. But we have scrap collection, player attack hit. Turret firing is not a player action. And potentially we may want different kinds of turret firing sound. Oh, I get it. It's a general category, right? Because we have our electric fence, but we don't have. We have ambient sound effects for the electric crackle for the fence. We don't have a attack sound for the fence. That's fine. Upgrade sounds. So this would be, let's add a building upgraded. Now we got to make sure. Yeah, so 22 is the highest number. Wait, is there a 21? Oh, right there. Okay, so 23. Great. So now building upgraded is the highest number. There's something to be said for ordering the enum so that the numbers go and so the largest one is the bottom, so we can clearly see that, or not having numbers. But we've already seen last coding stream why that's a problem, because if we put things in the middle for organization, then that changes all the numbers. It's just, I want to be able to do this. Yeah, so that's what it is. For now, I'm going to assume that I'm going to have... So presently in the game, the way it works is that you can select a building to place in the world. If you have enough scrap, you place it and it's instantly there. We're going to go away from that to have it so that you place a marker and then it gets built. And so we have separate sound effects for those different activities. But I think I'm going to assume once you place it, upgrades will be instant. There's a different way of doing it, which is that you select the building to be upgraded, and then a survivor has to go out and upgrade the building for that to take effect. I'm choosing for now to not do that, and so I'll just have the one sound effect here. Of course, the flips, like the other side of that, right, is that these sound effects aren't used yet because I haven't implemented the thing I just described, where the building is a place marker and then it gets built. It's instant right now, so these sound effects I intend to use, right? Whereas I don't intend to have the something for upgraded. It's just a choice because I have a feeling that it will be challenging and fun and interesting to have that first thing where you have to have the survivors go out and build defenses. Though I think we'll have to think about balance and construction time and how aggressive the enemies are and waves and those sorts of things to make the game actually winnable. But I feel like doing the same thing for upgrading may be too much. I could be wrong. I guess we'll know in time, and then I can add another enum and add sound effects anyway. Okay, so we have enemy zombie groans. So that's our ambient zombie idle groan. Zombie death. Yes. So let's add a sound effect for So I want to add a comment here clarifying what this is, which is exactly what Copilot has generated. This is when a survivor takes damage, right? A zombie hit, when a zombie takes damage? No, I don't think so. So we need to change this. Zombie bite. When a zombie attacks. When zombies attack. Anyway. Yeah, that's the sound effect I want, is the zombie attack sound. And I guess the less whimsical is to call it zombie attack. A survivor or building. There you go. Okay, survivor yelps. That's this survivor hit, right? No. No. So this is when a survivor takes damage. We want a survivor yelp. That. When they're startled. There we go. We should use that word. This is oh yeah. We have a different word we use in the code already, which is panicked. Here we go. Right? Which happens when zombies get close. The survivors like run around and try to evade the zombie somewhat. That, I think, that part of the behavior could be refined a bit, but the idea is this is a sound effect that may play when that happens, and we will need to implement that as well. In fact, maybe let's make a list of things that we've added that we'll need to like follow up on. SFX to-dos, if you will. right? So what have we done so far? So we've added Survivor Yelp. Not done a lot. And we haven't implemented the building upgrade mechanism at all yet, so not yet. Used is what I'll put for these. So when I'm thinking of these to-dos, I'm thinking not of like, oh, I need to implement these features for buildings. I'm thinking about of the stuff we have in the code now, what may need to change or be added to support the stuff, right? So play Survivor Yelp. Okay, so we can do that. Zombie attack. So play zombie attack when a zombie attacks a survivor, which is to say they attack anything, because those are the things that can be attacked. And then we need to talk about audio effects that we need to implement. That I'm considering part of the scope of like what I want to implement here. Let's split our screen again. Create Yelp sound. Create zombie attack sound. And then I'm not worried too much about creating the sounds for the things that we are not going to use yet. Maybe by the time we implement this, I'll have changed my mind about how this all works, and then we won't need it. A thing that's listed here that we haven't implemented is achievement unlocked sound. So if we go back to the sound effect board, we have a confirm. We don't have a UI cancel sound. Create UI cancel sound. There we go. Okay, of the things that where we have resources, it's just the cancel that's not implemented. Okay. So that's all of these once we implement these two sounds. And we have these done. So turret fire, turret idle. We have turret fire, we don't have turret idle. Oops. Create turret idle sound and resource. This is making a list of all the things that we left from the last stream, effectively. So building damaged would be another one that we're using that. No, we're not using. Well, I don't know. We have to search for. Yeah. So downside of using enums is that when we reference the enum in our scenes, it's just the number, right? So like here we go, sound effect 16. Versus, I thought about it, I mentioned it, I verbalized it on the last stream of like we could just use a string, but then we wouldn't have like checking to see if it's a valid value where we're referencing the sound effect. So it's trade-offs. It's just trade-offs. Create building damaged sound and resource. And destroyed as well. Equals 7. What if I search for that? Yeah, death sound 17. Probably so. What about building complete? Well, it's not here, so it seems like no. Also, I guess we have no building sounds because we don't even have that column on the soundboard. Create building complete sound and resource. And I guess removed as well, right? So removed is like when we reclaim the building, which is a thing you can do to reclaim scrap. Okay, so of the things that we've defined enums for that are actually used by the game or we're intending to imminently implement, here's the list of things to do. But before we move on and do those things, what other sound effects should I add? And so this is where we're going to go back to the GitHub list because there were some more, right? So survivor death, we don't have actually. Create survivor death sound and resource. We don't have that at all, right? We do have turret fire. I don't think I'm going to do this. That's going to be, at least for now, I'm going to, let's edit this. Yeah. No relief. All right. So achievement unlocked. We have the enum for wave start, wave complete. So menu navigation we've taken care of. I think for insufficient funds, we're just going to use the error, the UI error sound for that. Purchase upgrade. There's a thought, right? So we have building upgraded. Maybe we make it more general. No, I don't think so. Let's do a new sound here called purchase. When a tech is unlocked, or are there any other things, right? So you because the building stuff is going to be its own system with its own effects. So I think maybe I won't make a general one here. This will be tech unlocked. Yeah, from the tech tree, right? Okay, so now for everything that I add to that, we're gonna say we're gonna do these things. Okay. And then this is talking about music. We have one music track that's very something, I don't know, but we'll probably want to do some other things. I think I may, I'm gonna punt that for now. We'll come back to that. Gameplay, yeah. Oh yeah, so the wave stuff, right? So wave start and wave complete. That's more combat related. Wave start, wave complete. Scenario complete. There we go. Okay. So we didn't even talk about a level or scenario here, but I think that naturally follows, right? Some kind of scenario complete sound and resource. Do we want a level up sound? Right, so we have the concept of XP and levels. Maybe so. Let's say yes for now. And I will put that here. All right, so we have 30 sounds. Great. 30 sounds, and these are the things that we need to do. Okay. So let's commit this and publish this branch. And then I think we're gonna take a break from this to review some bug fixes and features that I had AI make since the last stream, and see how that's doing. So we'll get this created, and this should be fine. Well, I'll let my unit test run. Okay, what do we want to look at first? So we have disable gameplay input during victory game over screens. This, I'm very suspicious of it successfully doing that. Fix hover tooltip range indicator persisting after obstacle removal. I felt like I had a pretty good sense of how to reproduce this, so I think this should be not too bad to test. We have add optional sound effect debug display with aggregation. So this is the thing I was talking about on the last stream, where it would be nice to have a visual indicator of what sound effects are playing. So this feels like something that probably will just either work or not work. And then we have add tech tree button to main HUD with pause integration, and this had a bunch of feedback on it that we will see if Copilot did actually do the things. So where do we want to start? And then there was one that I actually reviewed and merged yesterday, which was something that I was trying to figure out what to do about, I think a little bit on stream, which was that because the camera is an orthographic camera and it is set at a fixed distance away from the world, and zooming in and zooming out, something. Anyway, short version is that I already identified that we wanted an audio listener 3D in the scene to indicate where we're hearing the sound. And what we ended up doing is the camera, our custom camera script, was already maintaining a location of where the camera is focused, where the ray from the camera intersects with the ground. And so we use that location and we position our audio listener there. So wherever we move the camera, wherever we're looking down on the ground, that's where we're listening. Which seemed to make this stereo audio more noticeable. Like if you moved to one side of the map, you would hear things on one side, whatever. Also, that let me reset the units of things, and we could hear sounds better versus the camera being so far away. So that looked good, tested it, merged it yesterday. So another win for AI. Okay, what is Copilot going to say about this? So it's like, hey, you should explicitly number the sound category. It's true. I think this is less of an issue than the other one because we're not going to be constantly adding and changing this enum. So I think I'm going to ignore that suggestion for now. As long as we add to the end, it should be fine. And right now, we're not even using the category for anything. So in some ways, that's worse. Because that means that if we broke it, we might come to want to use that to find that all of our sounds are in the wrong categories because of enum changes. So it's fine. We only have 30 sounds once we make them all. So I'm going to merge this. All right. Now, I think I said that I thought this one was going to be the easiest to test. So, interesting. When clearing a hover state for a removed obstacle, considering on mouse exit on the obstacle for nulling the reference. Entity ranged obstacle on mouse exit method not only hides the range indicator, but also sets the internal is hovered to false. When the obstacle is about to be free, calling this method ensures complete cleanup of the hover state. We'll see a look at that. So let's pull this down. And this is in our main script, right around line 230. Okay, I didn't mean to. I meant to do the opposite of that. I wanted to close that pane and just show the source code. Okay, anyway, line 230. Oh yeah, right there. I see. So what were the actual changes here? So we add, ignoring the unit test change, or not unit test changes, it just adds a markdown file saying how do you test this? That's cute. Okay, so what did we change? So we say if hovered ranged obstacle equals obstacle. Where are we? So we're in handle obstacle remove click. So this gets called when we right click, essentially. If we're not placing right now and we right click, this is called. And this projects a ray from where we clicked on screen into the world to figure out, hey, did we click on something? If we did click on something, then we get the information about what we collided with, which is the collider, the thing that we collided with. In fact, that might be a better variable name. Instead of collider, it's thing we collided with, or maybe thing we clicked. Anyway, if thing we clicked is entity placeable object, then obstacle rather, then obstacle is we just coerce the type. So okay, so if we are trying to remove a placed obstacle, in other words, if hovered ranged obstacle, which is a thing that exists here, currently hovered ranged obstacle for range preview. So in other words, this is if we're hovering over an obstacle and the obstacle that we're removing is that obstacle, then we need to do a thing. In this case, we just simply null out hovered ranged obstacle. So how is hovered ranged obstacle used? Handle ranged obstacle hover. This is where we're setting it. And we call on mouse enter. So I think the Copilot suggestion might be valid. But what we're going to do is we're just going to fire up the game and see if we can reproduce the issue that we were having before, right? So if we go to our test scenario and we place, I get some free scrap and I place an obstacle. Okay. Before, the tooltip would remain, and now it doesn't. So Copilot's suggestion was to also call on mouse exit. I wonder, maybe we don't need both. I mean, it's fine. Let's see, does that break anything doing that? Also, UI cancel sound is very annoying. Did we have any debugger messages about doing that? No. Okay. So that seems fine. That fixes a bug. Call on mouse exit before clearing hovered ranged obstacle. Great. Cool. Ship it. Actually, that makes me think of a thing that we could do. We did do for our other practice games, which is set up like a release process on GitHub with GitHub Actions, and I don't know, put the game on itch.io. It's not. It's nowhere near finished. Should go without saying, but we could, you know, put it up for playtesting and just to do it. Set up actions for release and publish to itch.io. I will continue considering that. All right, back to main and pull down all the changes. Okay, so next PR. Disable gameplay input during victory game over screen. So this is something I noticed last stream, which is that if you are in the game, let's do this one because this will end quickly. Well, if we would have gotten the other zombie, this would have ended quickly. Since it's a random spawn, whether it's the big slow boss or the other one. Bloop. All right, but you can still click the buttons in the hotbar, right? Ignore that button is clickable. That's normal. That's because it's the debug button. But yeah, you can still place things into the world, which is weird and shouldn't be the case. Like, you shouldn't be able to reclaim scrap either, or attack zombies. I guess at this point, like once you get to game over, I don't know that it matters. Do I care? Is this a thing I care about, right? So at game over, you won't have any scrap. If there was still scrap in the world, so one, you can't zoom in or out or navigate in the world. This actually thought of a different thing, which is I should be able to like click drag mouse wheel to navigate in the world. Yay, more features. add ability to middle mouse button plus drag to move around in the world, as well as moving mouse to the edge of the screen. Yeah, both of those things. Right, so as annoying as that is, I'm thinking of beginning a game and like I need to move to the different desktop, and then the game is just like infinitely scrolling to the side. It's fine most of the time, and it's nice to be able to just like navigate that way, but also being able to like just drag the world around is helpful. Okay. Feature creep aside, do I care about this, right? So no matter what, like once you hit the game over screen or the victory screen, what's going to happen next is already locked in. I believe that's true. Let's check something really quick. Let's see, how can we test this? So we go here. Let's collect some scrap, right? So I have 30 scrap, level 68, 697. Okay. So now I'm at 0 scrap, 712 XP. 712, 0. Return to main menu. Start. 712, 30. That's not right. So there's two ways of fixing this. One is to prevent any interaction outside. The other is to make it so that when we're on the victory screen, we've already locked in what the values are. So no matter what happens outside of it, it's committed. And I think I like that more because that seems less fragile. Okay, so how do we fix that? Victory menu. Why do we have two victory menu touch IDs? So we have common UI menus victory. It doesn't exist anymore. That's why. It's just cached that the file existed from before we moved it. Okay. So update stats. Does things. Integer division decimal. What decimal point? What do you mean? I convert it. Look, if seconds is converted into an int, what is this warning about? I don't get it. Anyway, it's what I want. It has nothing to do, nothing at all to do with what we're trying to do right now. Okay, so let me go to the victory menu. Scene. Right, so here we are. And so this continue button connects to on button pressed, which just sends us back to the main menu, right? So the victory menu relies on the fact that let's see. Okay, so I think, unfortunately, the way this is set up is going to be challenging to, like, we could take a snapshot of when the victory menu is shown. Right, so update stats right here. Visible true. I think, okay. Maybe not though. I wonder, so currency manager is what's responsible for accumulating scrap and XP and levels and all that stuff. I wonder if it would be better to just add guards for all the urns to do nothing if we are in the wrong game state, right? Do nothing if game state is not playing, right? So game state is our enum that has a few different states: main menu, playing, in-game menu, game over, victory, and all done. All done is the so victory is kind of scenario end. All done is completing all the scenarios, I think is the intent. We don't use all done anywhere yet. Yeah. Represents the state after all scenarios are completed, which should occur after victory in one particular in a scenario, right? So if you play through all the scenarios, maybe, probably, like, I haven't charted this all out yet, right? So the idea would be you would unlock scenarios as you do things, whether that's completing a scenario, getting an achievement, whatever it takes to unlock scenarios. Presumably there will be a final scenario that gets unlocked and you wouldn't be able to get into, but maybe there's like multiple ways of doing it, of getting to it, in which case maybe the final scenario is not the last one. I don't know. Let's let me narrow the scope of this. I think we will say after the final scenario is completed, right? Whereas this victory represents when completes any scenario. Game over when lost any scenario. Okay, so the comments are nice because then we can look at the enum and be like, well, we could theoretically, if hovering was working. Oh, there we go. No. Over here, maybe? I could have sworn that, whatever. Anyway, the comments are nice, is a true statement. Point being that the current game state, if it's not playing, then we shouldn't be able to earn scrap. And I still think this is better than what Copilot did, which was to try to do some stuff with how pausing works. What was this doing again? So we add like input enabled on the hotbar, and we on the camera, and then we add a method to game manager, and then in game manager, okay. I mean, I might like this anyway. Like, I don't even care about being able to, like, I actually don't care. Thinking about it a little bit more this morning after having slept on it, I don't care about these specific things, but we can't let the player earn XP or scrap after while not playing, because that breaks the isolation of the scenarios. I do think that I like this method, though. I'm gonna steal this. Let me put this in Game Manager. Right? Wait, do I not have a... We have it is paused. I think... I'll give this a different name, right? We're gonna be... This is gonna be is playing. Yep. Right? So... We can do this, right? That's all. And that just will prevent us from earning XP or scrap if we're in the victory state or in the loss state or anything in the pause menu, anything. Right? Oh, good, we get a fast zombie this time. Right, so game over. I can collect the scrap. I can attack the zombie. Here's a question: if I defeat the zombie, does it spawn the other zombie? It does. Yeah. It's not going to do anything. It's not even going to come on screen because it doesn't have a target. But yeah, we didn't earn any scrap there, right? We have 697. So we get 10 scrap and then we game over. There we go. We get a little XP. 702. Yeah, 702. Good. Should the wave mechanism stop? Or the enemy spawner stop when the game ends? Maybe. How does this work? Spawn enemy on child exiting tree. Find random spawn position. So the enemy spawner has a number of waves, and each wave can be we have wave timer. Spawn next enemy. I just wonder. Maybe the enemy spawner could delete itself from the scene tree if we hit a game over. That would be a way of stopping the waves. So we have a signal for game state change. I don't know. I don't think this is the most pressing thing to do. It's been an hour, so I'm going to take a break here for a couple minutes. I will return, and then we'll continue.